This is Tyrese Haliburton, and you're listening to Setting the Pace.
What's up, Pacer Nation? Happy Friday, and welcome to the last part of the June Mailbag. And boy, this has been a fun one here. We've had a lot of questions, a lot of new sender-inners of questions, and a lot of old faithfuls. And I think today we're going to close it out by seeing a lot of familiar faces that have been on this mailbag for several years now. And, Facci, I always enjoy seeing these reoccurring names.
Nothing better. Nothing better. It makes me feel like, almost like we're family. I appreciate these guys coming in here, guys and girls, submitting questions in because, hey, you've been with us for a long time. We want you to continue to be with us. So, you want me to start off with question 1?
No, I think I'm going to do the odds this time
right.
so we can set it up for question 9 so you're not asking that question.
Okay.
All right. Question number 1 comes from Planet A NBA. Back at it again. Wants to know, Facci, do you expect Tyrese Haliburton to be 100% from day one, or will he need a ramp-up period?
I would imagine a ramp-up period. I mean, look, I think that despite it being by the time, game 1 starts, it'll be like 16 months since he's played like a true basketball game that counts. I feel like there should be a ramp-up period because he's too valuable he's too valuable to his franchise to just throw him out there and play, 35 plus minutes on night 1. So we're blessed to have Andrew Nembhard, blessed to have TJ McConnell here that can ease a little bit of that load. So give me the ramp-up period to start.
Yeah, I think, if we're being realistic, right, like Tyrese is just going to come in guns a-blazing and be exactly who he was before the Achilles injury in Game 7. Come on, guys. No, he's going to need time. Sorry, I got to give Planet A NBA a little bit of a pushback here on this question because, of course, he's not going to be 100% at full speed because even if he's 100% healthy, the speed of the game is so fast. It's so physical. People act like it's not physical. Oh, the NBA is soft. Sit close. I guarantee you. If you sit like 5 rows up from an NBA basketball game, you'll be like, man, these guys take a beating and they play so fast. So listen, yeah, it's going to take some time for him to get back into full game speed, game shape, everything that you need in between. But that's okay. We got plenty of time to ramp it up because, like you said, we got good point guard depth. So let's move it on to question number 2.
All right. Question number 2 at okay, bro, said, is it realistic to, I put a little sauce on that one.
Why did you do that?
Is it realistic to expect Zubac to start taking threes?
He's going to be cashing from 3 this year. I have a feeling. I don't know how many he's going to take, Foch. He's only taken, 13 in his career, something like that. It's like 1 for 13. Is that as many as he's taken?
Something around there. I know he's only
but I'm sure you saw the picture that Coach June Mailbag posted on Twitter with her and Jim Boylan out there with Zubac, and they were with the Pelicans coach as well. And guess who was with them? Carlo Matkovic, who I had put in my top 5 power forwards, and I said, yeah, they're both Croatian, and I think they're friends. I'm not sure. Maybe it's not friends. And look, they were there working out together. I said, oh, this was on to something now. He is on like a very team option, very cheap contract. So I don't know what they're going to do with him. But I think that Jenny Busek being out there with Big Zoo, when she's not really his personal coach, it is Jim Boylan who does all the big coaching for the individual workouts and stuff like that. She's the shot doctor. I guarantee they're working on that shot.
They have to be. I just feel like you can't not be. And I don't know what they were doing in Los Angeles. I really don't. But I feel like it's got to be something that comes along. But I don't think that we could just expect oh yeah, Zubac, he'll be shooting at an efficient clip next year. I just think can we get to a point where the defense can respect that he could shoot it? That would be helpful. And then eventually, as time goes on, then you could develop into maybe a 35% or better 3-point shooter. That would add a lot to this team. But I think that is important that he's working on those threes all this offseason so that if he needs to, he could, but doesn't have to.
No, I agree with that. I'm really excited about Big Zoo. I want to see what this transformation looks like. And if he can do the unthinkable and be the next Brook Lopez of today's, generation, that would be awesome to see him go from a back to the basket lob threat guy to boom, I'm stretching out. I'm making 37% of my threes and protecting the rim. Miles Turner who, right? That's
Yeah.
kind of what I want. So anyway, let's move on to question number 3. This one comes from at JLH0215, aka Pacer Faithful. Huff, Potter, or Quenton Jackson, which player are you most comfortable counting on next season?
I think I lean Q at number 1. I just think that, like, Jay Huff played 82, and that's awesome. That's great. But I feel like he's gonna play a different role, and I think it's gonna be a little bit lesser role. And I think that last year, like, you could count on him to play, but could you count on him to be consistent? Absolutely not. I think we've talked about it before. JF was the exact guy to hit 2 or 3 threes in a row. You start believing, misses the next 6 or 7, and all of a sudden you're like, all right, that was kind of gross. But I think that my order would be Q, J Huff, Micah Potter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you don't have Micah Potter first. I mean, he is Jeff Foster 2.0.
Yeah. He had some moments, but it's
I'm
just
kidding.
I know in meaningful basketball games, I would not know what to expect.
He's a great rebounder, is what everybody keeps telling me. I'm like, he's fine. I just don't understand the obsession with everybody, like, we keep talking about this, and maybe I'm just so picky, like, I don't know why, but it's like we just keep talking about these players because we saw them play so much last year, like, put up career stats, but like the team sucked. They won 19 games. Like, I don't know what you're putting any stock into. And I mean, sure, if you want to say that J Huff will be better next season in a smaller role, okay, that's great. But I mean, I listened to what we said on Tuesday, and I'm like, we both were just talking about how Luke Cornett was like almost unplayable in the NBA Finals as the backup for the Spurs. Like, when he was on the floor, like, they just lost every single one of those minutes. Then he is way better than Huff or Potter. Like, that's just why I just don't understand why people are just like so adamant. Like, oh, we got a great backup center to back up Zoo. It's a great, yin to Zubac's yang. I'm like, no, Obi Toppin is your best backup center right now, and Obi Toppin can't play backup center the entirety of the year. So anyway, I just want to say, we've got to find some center depth. I am not in love with this group. I'm very nervous about them moving forward. And Quenton Jackson, he's got that dog in him, and I think that you're going to get at least probably a bigger flash from Q than the other 3
100%.
when the game is on the line, because he's consistently got the same motor that you want to see somebody play. I mean, Potter's got a pretty good motor as well, but like defensively,
Oh,
Facci, me and you can defend better than Micah Potter at times.
hey, I appreciate that. That's how I always made my money. I mean,
Press
playing
Virginia,
basketball,
baby. Press Virginia.
you know it. Look, I might have been good for 1 3, but the rest was gonna come on defense.
3
So
Andy.
you're good for the 3, good for a carnival shot. That I got the long ranger, but you need the gritty defense. But I think that for your point on Q of flashing more, like, he's had those moments. He's dropped 20 plus points in limited fashion to the point where I feel like if you need him to take on a larger role, I think he could. I think you shouldn't have to overdo it. I think that next year with everybody healthy, it'll probably be hard to come across playing time, but I think that he would be someone that if you needed, hey, stepping in a starting lineup, I would not be shook by any means. Jay Huff, I think I'd be a little bit like next year when it's all meaningful to say all right, well, let's see what he's got, but I really don't really know. So that's where I'm at. But next question at Jason6842, or he goes by Howling Fish Tank Fan. Is TJ McConnell still him?
Foch, TJ McConnell, when he's 85 years old, he will still be him. He is still the white boy in the NBA. But in terms of what he brings the Pacers, this is a big year for him. This might be the last year that we really get a super productive TJ McConnell. It's only going to get worse just because age doesn't lie. And as Charles Barkley said, this is a young man's game.
Yep.
And it passes you by. The Pacers really got to start thinking long and hard about how they're going to replace TJ McConnell, especially after this season. They probably think, oh, we got him for 2 more years. He's still, going to be capable. You're going to be limited, and hopefully Tyrese is healthy where he can play 37, 38 minutes a game in the playoffs, and you don't have to play TJ that much, or he can stagger Nembhard's minutes with that. But he is always going to be him, but I do worry about his drop-off over the next couple of years.
Yeah, look, I'm not quite sure if he's still him, but here's the thing. Don't we say that every year? Don't we
Oh,
do that?
That's why
Isn't
I
that
said he
TJ
still is
McConnell's
him.
career? That's his entire career is counting him out.
Maybe we should just do that for the sake of him proving us wrong.
Maybe because I
For the
just feel
betterment
like
of the team.
every single year we count him out. I remember we did a minutes rotation. Remember, you didn't have him in, and I remember being like, "Man, you got TJ McConnell on the outside looking." I just can't imagine that. And then game one, it seemed like he was going to be the infamous Carlisle with tears in his eyes. That's the quote that was out there telling McConnell he's going to be out of the rotation to start the year. That lasted one game. All of a sudden, McConnell is just he is who he is. So, like,
3 years
I
ago.
think last year they preserved him. I think they kept him fresh. I think there's so many opportunities last year he could have played more, but they were like, no, we know, like, we need McConnell to be McConnell. Like, this is a lost year. Keep him at that, like, 17, 18 minutes per game mark, and let's have him fresh for the next year. So I do think this is probably the last year of TJ McConnell being able to be kind of like vintage McConnell before there's a bit of a fall off. And that last year on his contract is just a team option. So I don't know. I don't know how many seasons of McConnell we really have left, especially those seasons of him being, quote, him.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great team option to have too, because
It
they can
is.
decline it and they can maybe bring him back on a cheaper deal, use that money elsewhere. But while he's on the roster and while he's representing the team and wearing the blue and gold, like, he is always going to be him in my eyes. So let's move on to question number 5. This one comes from a longtime listener, someone that bought us both jerseys at one point. It is the great Rooster, and he wants to know, why do fans seem so divided on Ben Sheppard?
Like, nobody loves Ben Sheppard more than Rooster. So, like,
That's a lie. I think we found somebody. Christopher Lloyd said he's the biggest Ben Sheppard fan. Now, I just condensed the question here for the mailbag, but he actually put that in his comment as the biggest Ben Sheppard fan. So I think, Rooster told me off air that he's a number one Tyrese Haliburton fan. So that means that Ben Sheppard can't be his number one player, which means Christopher Lloyd might be the president of the Ben Sheppard fan club.
Hey,
We got a new guy.
always need a president of the fan club. So
There's a new sheriff in town, and his name's Christopher Lloyd, and he said, Rooster, get on out of here.
Rooster, you got some competition. Look, I think for why do fans feel so divided on Ben Sheppard, I think part of it is because he's never flashy. He doesn't wow you. He's either, like, unfortunately off, or he's, like, consistently solid. And I don't think you get those, like, yo, you know who crushed it tonight? Ben Sheppard. Like, you're just not really getting those type of performances. I do think he very much turned a corner once the calendar turned to 2026. That was exciting to see. If you could see that over a larger sample size in meaningful basketball games, that would be huge. Like, the Pacers have this opportunity for Ben Sheppard where, like, if he could be the knockdown shooter that shot like 42% from 3 from January on, there's definitely an opportunity to be here longer term, sign a deal, be one of those, like, go-to 3-point shooters off the bench. But I do feel like there's other people that look at him to say, like, yeah, this is a guy who was picked right around 27th or so. You don't see a high ceiling. He does a lot of stuff that doesn't really show up on the box score. It's just a lot of, like, playing smart basketball, being someone that could be trusted to not really mess anything up. And that doesn't really, like, sell jerseys. Like, I don't know anyone that has a Ben Sheppard jersey. I don't.
I'm sure Christopher Lloyd does.
Maybe he does. So I think that's why there's the dividedness, because you feel like you could do without Ben Sheppard. And sometimes that comes with taking him for granted, is what I would say.
No, I mean, here's the thing. I think you hit a lot of good points. The biggest divide between Sheppard and the fan base is because Sheppard got more opportunity than Jarris Walker earlier on.
Definitely did.
And you're looking at, here's the 8th overall pick, and he's playing in the G League, while the 26th overall pick, who doesn't really do a whole lot statistically, is getting minutes over him. And then all of a sudden he's thrust into this playoff rotation, and I believe, maybe a little bit last year it was a little bit more divided, but the first year for sure, when Mathurin was out, Sheppard had to play in that playoff rotation, and he played pretty well. I think Rick Carlisle even said after that playoff series that he had the best plus-minus of anybody on the team. And so it's just one of those things where, like, when Carlisle says he's a soldier in our system, he doesn't make mistakes. I mean, he does make mistakes, but he doesn't make them very often.
Yeah.
He makes few mistakes, and he plays within the system. And I think that is a big part of like why they like him so much. And he's just a lot cheaper. Like moving forward, like, Jarris Walker was supposed to be this defensive stalwart they drafted, has been a mess defensively. He has regressed so much from college to where he is now. And then Shep was drafted to be this elite 3-point shooter out of Belmont. And until, like you said, last year, the last 4 months, he hadn't really been that. And so I think fans have just always been like, let's just be honest. They look at the box score. They see Ben Sheppard. Oh, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 12 minutes. -3, what a waste of time. Why is he playing over this player without actually watching the game? Fans that just don't, I mean, you can always do better than Ben Sheppard. Like we've talked about this before. There are options out there to get a better 2-guard than Ben Sheppard, and that is why we've been talking ad nauseum. Like, we got to get an Ayo Dosunmu, we got to get a Quentin Grimes, we got to get a whoever, Anthony Simons, somebody to just play the Mathurin role and put Shep more back into that 9th, 10th man role, because if he's like your backup shooting guard for Nembhard, that is not great. I think you got to eventually choose between Shep and Walk for who you want as your backup 3. But if Furphy comes back, then all of a sudden you could even make the case that Shep doesn't belong and Furphy's better than him, because we did hear Chad Buchanan say we think that Johnny Furphy's a bigger Ben Sheppard. So I don't know. I think that Sheppard is he's just a solid player. He's just okay. And I think fans are just looking at like, okay, we can do better than this. And they can. But at the same time, good locker room guy, good player that fits in the system, and he's pretty cheap. I think he's underappreciated, but I agree that the fans have the right to feel like they could do better.
Yeah. And like, let's also not act like from 3-point land he wasn't incredibly underachieving for,
That was
you know,
awful. He
he
wouldn't
was
even look at the
terrible.
basket sometimes.
There was a stretch where I'm pretty sure he missed like 15 threes in a row, to the point where it really caught on as like a fan base, where people were like starting to really pay attention to it. Like it got to the point where everyone was rooting for him to just make one. And I could easily go back and look up what the game log was, or go through the game logs of like, it wasn't this past season, it was like 2 seasons ago, where it was like such a slump. So I feel like he's definitely come out of that, and it's great. And I love what he brings defensively, and that's not like some of the sexiest stuff, because it's not like he's someone who's like averaging 2+ steals per game, or is not going to show it in terms of like his blocks. Like Jay Huff had the span where he was averaging over 2 blocks, and then everyone started paying attention to it. It was just the best shot blocker in the league. Like, people started talking about that, when even though there's other sides, other parts of defense that maybe, Huff was lacking on a bit. But yeah, I think that the fan base has the right to feel divided, but I also feel like he's not looking for the same type of contract as like a Jarris Walker, so you should temper expectations.
All right, let's move on to question number 6.
Number 6, speak of the guy, speak of the man himself, Christopher Lloyd. He said, are you giving up too early on Ben Sheppard? These two, Rooster and Christopher Lloyd, going head to head. Neither of them sleeping on Ben Sheppard. Both of them seeking more respect for Ben Sheppard. What do you got, Alex? Are you giving up too early on Ben Sheppard?
I haven't given up on him. That's all I got to say. Like, I am very comfortable as someone that covers this team. If the Pacers, if you've seen anything I've really put out in terms of trades, most of my trades have been Jarris Walker trades with the Pacers keeping Sheppard. Why? Because Sheppard's cheaper and he's going to be less, not problems, but that's a wrong word, but it's just going to be a seamless transition for them to say, hey, we brought someone in that's better than you, whatever. But no, I think Sheppard's fine. But look, he's kind of like reached that ceiling to me. I don't see a world where he gets much better than he already is. Maybe he can become a little bit more of a sustained high percentage 3-point shooter like you mentioned. But other than that, I think we kind of know who Sheppard is. And that's not a bad thing. It's just we're not going to be getting like this, watch him take people off the dribble and watch him pull up and hit a mid-range jumper. No, it's going to be catch and shoot threes, crash the glass, play good defense, don't get in the way.
That's where I'm at. I just feel like I don't have this like Ben Sheppard's next step to me is just being more consistent from three. That's what it is. I don't envision him as like starter material. I don't envision him as like a six man. I envision him as, I don't know, maybe more of like that like eighth man. Like that's like consistently in that area where it's like, okay, like you're always gonna have like an OB and a TJ McConnell ahead of him. But I also feel like you should want another scorer off the bench ahead of him. So that's where I feel like he's definitely part of the rotation, but he's like probably like that last guy who's like consistently part of the rotation who's not like a backup center.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how I view it. So no, I'm not giving up on Ben Sheppard. I definitely feel like if anything, I came around more when I saw him be more consistent because to me, I always just felt like there was a little bit of that chip on the shoulder of like this was a guy that was advertised as arguably the best 3-point shooter in the draft, like one of them,
Yeah.
and he looked far from it. So I'm happy with the progress that Ben Sheppard's made. Have not given up, but I've definitely tempered my expectations.
Yeah, and I think he was like a little bit of a draft darling towards the end, right? The
I think so.
process, because he was like projected second round and then just kept
Yeah.
creeping up and creeping up.
I was pretty
Um,
stunned that he's a first round pick. We were all like, "Who?" Like, "Wow,
yeah,
yeah, really?" Like, "Yeah, guy out of Belmont. Okay, are we sure about this?" Like,
yeah.
and a
You
couple
remember who
years
my
later,
remember who I was like kind of like focused in on there, that 26 pick? Do you remember?
I can't remember right now. Who
So
you got?
Julian Strother was the name I kept going back to,
Interesting.
only because of Gonzaga and because of the
Yeah.
connection we'd already seen with Nimhard getting drafted previously from there. And like he played with Nimhard. So I was like, I think he got picked right around that range. Might have been 29th by Denver. The pick we ended up having, I think we might have traded it.
Yeah,
So
maybe I got him pulled up right over here. So
he's
he
awesome.
was pick 29. Yeah, there's just you know
And I was
there's
looking at 29 in that range when we had it. I was like, I like Julian Strother a lot because, like, I was like, they've already drafted Mathurin, who was part of Tommy Lloyd's group that was with Gonzaga before that, and then they got Mathurin. So I just drawing the parallels here. Like, I wasn't like, oh my god, I'm pounding the table like I have been for other guys, but that was like my late sleeper, and I'm like, it worked out pretty well. Like, I think while Strother has been a little bit of a shell of himself, Sheppard has at least been
yeah,
uh, a very reliable depth
totally.
piece. Like, he is a depth piece to me.
He is. That's what he is, and I just don't think that it shouldn't be a knock on him when you're, like, a tail end of a first round, you're hoping to be like, "Hey, could this be someone who's definitely, like, a rotational guy?" He's absolutely been a rotational guy. If anything, Ben Sheppard, I can't say that it's, like, exceeded expectations, but I feel like a couple years later, if you're talking about that Indiana ends up re-signing him, think about how many Pacer draft picks they didn't re-sign. A lot. A
Isaiah
lot of
Jackson was the first one, I think, in a long time that was a first-round
exactly,
pick.
and, like, let's look at Isaiah Jackson's career, it was kind of like, all right, like, he got re-signed after an Achilles tear, so, like, I feel like at that point, that's one that you probably could have, unfortunately, probably done without and said, "All right, you know what?" But, like, they've already traded him since. So,
Yeah.
yeah, well, anyway,
Question
let's
number
see.
7, I got you. Dalton
Yeah.
Chubb, 1994. He wants to know, are you annoyed that the team the Pacers have beaten the last 2 playoff series, their fans got to celebrate a title before Pacer fans?
First off, shout out to Dalton Chubb. This is another loyal supporter of our show. He's been sending questions for years. Dalton, we love you. When you say annoyed, like, yeah, I mean, look, like, I'm definitely not happy about it. I mean, if anything, living in New York, I've gotten just abused by everybody that I know on a daily basis. I mean, it's still coming. I just get texts like, "Yo, did you win a championship on Saturday?" It's like, no, I didn't. I'm not going to respond to this. And then I just get thrown in group chats. So, like, yeah, I feel like there's the Pacers and the Knicks, despite the Knicks winning NBA championships in the late 60s and early 70s. It felt like it was like anybody that you knew that was a Knicks fan never saw a championship. So we always had that. So they're going to hang that above our heads for a while. But there is the part of me that's still like, you still haven't beat us. You still haven't beat us when it mattered in the playoffs. So for that, I can't wait to see the Knicks. But you know what? There's other part of me that's like, if you're a passionate fan base, and the Knicks are very passionate, and you haven't won a championship in over 50 years, you do deserve to see your team win one. Every team that's been around for a while deserves to say the fan base deserves to see one. And I think for the Knicks, like Yeah, I mean, this was the most watched NBA Finals since 1998 with Michael Jordan. That means that clearly it's a large and passionate fan base, and yeah, hey, let's give them one. Let's not give them another one. All right.
Yeah, I'm annoyed, Foch. I was
I
not
bet.
happy with this.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what I'll say. Like, I like a lot of the players on the Knicks, and I actually really like Mike Brown. I just
Yeah.
don't like the New York
Or
market, the
Pacer system.
fans. It's
I
more so
know.
the fans than it is the players. Like, I honestly like. Here's what I'll say: if Indiana would have won the title last year against OKC, and Hallie doesn't get hurt, and for whatever reason Halliburton's out this whole season, and they win, and we don't make the playoffs, like. I wouldn't have cared if they would have won and we didn't make the playoffs. Like, I don't care that they won this year because Indiana wasn't there to play them and prove that, hey, we're still better than you. But what sucks is that they got the title before us
I know.
because we were literally right there on the doorstep. We
absolutely
were
were.
going to win the title. And, like,
We would have
there's a-
crossed paths in the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it.
what do you mean?
We would have crossed paths with
Oh,
the Knicks
this
in the
year.
playoffs.
Yes.
Again.
Yeah,
3 years in a row.
I was just saying if we would have won though, like, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden Halliburton tears his Achilles like the last play or something, right? And like he's out for this season. I wouldn't have cared had we just won. You
Oh,
know?
I mean, yeah.
I'm sure I would in the moment if we would have lost to them in like a 7-game series, I would not be rooting for them just because I couldn't imagine their
Either
fan
way.
base and how they would act about it. But they probably have one of the worst fan bases. Passionate, sure, don't get me wrong.
Definitely
But
passionate.
there's a
Sometimes
lot of great fans. There's also a lot of bad fans for the Knicks. So,
exactly. Like,
anyway.
everybody I know in New York is very passionate fans. They would not be the type that would start beating someone up in the streets. Like, that definitely is not cool at all. But like, I think I'm unfortunately in a spot where I'm a lot of close to a lot of fans that watch all the Knick games and have never seen their team do like win anything meaningful. And I used to heckle them. I used to say, "Hey, you're our little brother. Like, how could you not be? Like, we ruined Melo's like legacy. We sent the Knicks back to irrelevancy when Roy Hibbert blocked Melo at the rim in 2012. They were bad for a whole another good
10 years.
yeah, exactly. So we've had plenty of moments. When we beat them in 2000 to go to the NBA Finals. That was the end of their run of being relevant. At that point, the Knicks totally fell off and were terrible for like another 10 years. So, hey, they won this one. It definitely stinks. They're going to be rubbing it in, but I cannot wait until our paths cross again.
All right. Hopefully it's not on ring night because that is Halliburton's first game, and I want him to be
I
fully
know.
healthy when they play. So, question number 8. We got 2 more left.
How much are Pacer fans going to hate the Knicks now? Yeah, I mean, look, I think that there's definitely that like same type of what we just talked about. It's
You're killing me.
it's
You asked the question and then answered it.
yeah, I know,
Like
I
we
know.
haven't
I
been
mean, because it's like I don't know why I did that.
You're really excited about the Knicks, man. I've never
Yeah,
seen you this passionate talking about the Knicks in my life, man. What's going
it's
on with
just
you?
right on target of what we just spoke about. Where it's like, hey, what do you got? You answer it because you're.
I don't have anything else to say besides
Yeah, I know.
it's just
We
yes,
covered
they're
it.
gonna hate them more.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. They got what we wanted, and we feel that we're better than them. I mean, look, it was a good Knicks team. It was a great Pacers team, and maybe you can make an argument that maybe this Pacers team could be better with Zubac. We'll see. We'll see how the pieces go, and this Knicks team could end up getting worse. They might lose Mitchell Robinson. They
That'll be a
might
big
lose.
loss. That'll be a
Landry
big loss.
Shamet was a good player for them. He might be gone. So
Yeah.
I think for that they could live with it. But at the same point, Mitchell Robinson played huge in the finals. They can't keep championship teams cannot keep everybody. Knicks are bound to take a step back.
So you told Dalton Chubb you loved him, but I think you should have kept your love for this last
Probably.
question here because at Ben Fanatic wants to know why is Facci so handsome?
Honestly, a great question. Maybe the best question we've received.
I want to
I'm
know
gonna
why
say-
Ben Fanatic is blind.
Yeah, right. Hey, Ben, clearly you must be watching on YouTube, so thank you for that. I'm glad that I didn't scare you off. I don't know, maybe the power's in the beard. I think a lot of you guys have never seen me without a beard. I haven't gone clean shaven in a long time. I don't know when I will again. But Ben, I think you're the handsome one. Never seen you, but I got that good feeling, right?
We don't even know if his name's Ben or not. So
We don't. We actually do not. His name could easily be James or this or whatever it is. But Ben Fanatic, I'm catching the vibe. you're a handsome man as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I see Facci all the time. I mean, I'm not saying Facci is an ugly guy, but I'm not saying he's a handsome guy. I mean, I've seen better looking.
I mean, you started strong. You could have said maybe you're just numb to it, but
No, I mean, I've seen better looking. I mean, I've looked in a mirror before as well. So,
there you go.
you know,
Hey, there it is. But
Uh,
Ben, that's why I appreciate you more than my co-host, who's just like, I mean, he ain't that handsome, but
I
hey,
said
you
you're
know
not
what?
ugly,
I'm
but I
gonna have
didn't
to
say
ask this question to my wife and just see what her answer is. And
why is Facci so handsome. Yeah, I mean, you should have done that beforehand.
I mean,
Can you bring your wife in right now? Would she be willing to do this?
probably not. I mean, who knows where she is? She's probably upstairs or something. I'm not gonna go through this entire thing right now just to drag her in. I'm not gonna do this. No.
That would be funny. I feel like she came on the podcast one time.
She did one time. I think it was when like the Nats went to the World Series or something like that. I think we had her on because we were in the NLCS. She's a Nats fan. So
That's probably true. I remember she came on like just for a short minute. It wasn't super long.
Yeah. That was
But you know what? I mean,
quite some years ago.
so how old is your son now? He just turned 1?
Just turned 1. I got a 3-year-old, so whew.
You know, Facci, I think next year for our Father's Day episode, we might have to do a little segment with our kids.
That would be nice. That would
be fun. Fletcher will be 2.5.
Oh, trust me, 2.5. They talk. They got a lot to say.
He's got a lot to say now.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think that would be a lot of fun.
All right, so we're going to do that a year from now, so don't let me forget. But anyway, Pacer Nation, thank you all so much for tuning in to the mailbag here for the month of June. We'll get back to some more stuff. I think Facci's actually going to be gone over the weekend, so I'm going to have some episodes for everybody here on Monday, Tuesday, and then we'll be back with NBA draft coverage because we are that close to the NBA draft. So a lot of rumors going to be coming out. We'll make sure that's all covered, and if anything breaks before Facci leaves, we'll make sure we cover that as well. So Pacer Nation, hope you all have a wonderful day. And Facci, if you're looking forward to the NBA draft coming up and what's going on in free agency, hit us with those 3 words.
Let's go, Pacers.